Chapter 5 Invitation. Henderson, Nevada, December 10th, 1998. Manel Karyani, provost of Master Juvat Diota, meets up with two prospective magic users about joining Indelgion as potential apprentices. The elders frequently scry the world, searching for anyone with potential. It is their fear that if a magic user is not discovered by them and properly trained, they may become a future rogue, like Adrian Scrimauer or Elian Schaefer. Dressed in the maroon robes assigned to all provosts, Manel is immediately recognized by the prospective mages and their family as soon as he walks up to their door. A man of average build answers the door as Manel begins to knock. Behind the man are his wife and their 3 children, 2 teenage boys and 1 female toddler. "Hello, my name is Manel Karyani," Manel introduces himself. "I am the representative of Master Juvat Diota in the city of Indelgion." He shows off a scroll sealed by the distinguished mark of Master Diota. The man nods. "We have been expecting you ever since we received the message from your master. You must already be familiar with the existence of magic in our city. Most people we contact are not so receptive right away. It's been kind of hard to ignore our own eyes. Our kids have been using magic," the man says. "Kind of no other explanation for it." Manel nods. "So I have to ask, has anyone else in your family been known or suspected of being magic users or psychics of some kind?" "A lot of people thought my great-great-gran was a witch," the woman says. "Maybe it is possible that she actually was one. The ability to cast spells runs in bloodlines, so it is highly likely. Standalone users with no other magic-using relatives are much more uncommon." The man kneels in front of the 2 teens. "All right, boys. You don't have to go if you don't want to. This is completely up to you." The older of the 2 boys, named Jonathan, is the first to answer. "We were given this power, and I want to learn how to use it to help people." Jonathan's parents are proud of their son's selfless answer. The younger brother, Joseph, is not as noble with his motivations. "A whole city of freaks just like us. Out of sight, out of mind, right?" "Don't say such things," their mother says. "You aren't freaks. You're blessed with special abilities." "Yeah," Joseph mutters. "I feel blessed." "No one's forcing you to come along," Manel says. "I can't even guarantee that you'll be accepted. It all really depends on you and how hard you want to work. If you give it your all, I think you'll be satisfied with the end result." "It's not permanent," the father says. "If you get homesick or just don't like it there, you can always come back." He looks to Manel. "Right?" Manel does not tell them that anyone who fails to be accepted as an apprentice or leaves the city for good must undergo a ritual to have their ability to perform magic taken from them. "Of course," he says. "We're not going around abducting people. This process is completely voluntary." "How long will we be gone?" Joseph asks, initially. "The evaluation process and testing is pretty rigorous and spans the course of several months. After that, you'll be given a few days to spend with your family before moving into your assigned dormitory and beginning your formal training with whatever master or provost you are put in the care of." "How does that work?" the father asks. "Most master-level magicians have anywhere between 2 and 5 apprentices. Once these apprentices advance high enough and test out, they can achieve the rank of provost like myself. A provost may be given an apprentice of their own in order to further develop their leadership capabilities and their training towards the rank of master. "Do you have any apprentices?" Jonathan asks. Manel shakes his head. "Not yet. I've not been a provost long enough. Honestly, this recruitment mission is the most freedom I've been given so far in my training. My master and the elders will be watching how well I handle myself here, and weighing my success in bringing recruits back to Endelgian." The father pats Manel on the shoulder, surprising the young man. "I think you're doing just fine. I have no worries that my sons will be in fine hands. If Endelgian has raised young men like you, then their future leadership looks very promising indeed." "Thank you," Manel says. "That's very kind of you to say." After saying their goodbyes, Jonathan and Joseph Starr leave with Manel to return to Endelgian via a teleportation circle. Though somewhat nervous, it's understandable, and the teens look forward to the new adventure that awaits them. "Do you have any siblings of your own?" Jonathan asks Manel. "I have a younger sister that should begin the process of acceptance into apprenticeship any time now. She continues to procrastinate," Manel says. "She never ceases to aggravate me." Jonathan laughs. "That's what siblings are meant to do." "I suppose you're right," Manel whispers. "Are you all ready now?" Both teens nod, and Manel activates the teleportation circle with a brief incantation. The spell array begins to glow brightly on the ground, surprising the teens. "All right, then we'll be off. Next stop, Endelgian." North Bellingham Bay, Washington State, USA, December 10th, 1998. Dressed in animal skins and an elaborate headdress made from eagle feathers, the Kalku shaman of the Hidatswa tribe sits alone and in deep meditation. While it does appear that he is alone, the indigenous sorcerer actually convenes with the spirits of the natural world around him. Most humans have long since lost their ability to speak to the spirits, instead turning to technology and societal advancement. "Millions of them," Brokhul Uvaska growls, "consuming everything and giving nothing back. They steal the food from the deer's mouth. They poison the air and the sea, killing eagle and fish. They kill wolf and bear and coyote to protect their livestock. It disgusts me. They disgust me." "They anger me," says Moxmal, the bear spirit. "Any of them that I can get a hold of, I will kill." "Their weapons are far too much for you," says Opsy, the coyote spirit, "even with all of your strength." "Strength means nothing against their weapons and their cunning," says Masario Kachina, the bison spirit. "They have driven us all from the world." He looks at Brokill. "Even your people have abandoned our ways and embraced white man's technology." Brokill nods. "And that is why I killed them first. Around them are the slain corpses of all of the Hidatswa tribe. They do not deserve to live in this world after betraying the spirits. I will show everyone the power of the Manitou and the true gods." The animal spirits are satisfied. "Then you will continue to be our weapon, and we will bless you with our power and our wisdom," Opsy the coyote spirit says with a grin. You will return the world of man to a state more favorable to us, the Vitir. Before the Yazata began grooming humanity to take dominion over the earth, the world was under the protection of the Great Spirits and the Fae. These Great Spirits, also known as the Vitir, were the originators and embodiment of wildlife and nature. The Yazata did not commune with the birds or the grass or the trees. When they arrived, the angelic hosts were only concerned with the infant human species. Only the Great Spirits listened to the pleas of the wild and tried to calm their growing fears of being annihilated. The Fae attempted to court the humans for their own purposes and gain their adoration, but it backfired and brought the ire of the Yazata upon them. The Vitir were much more reserved and subtle in their actions, allowing them to remain in hiding for much longer while the Yazata hunted down and exterminated the Fae from the world. Humans were then taught to become rulers of the earth rather than an integral part of it. With this mentality, the Great Spirits and the remaining Fae were sent into disarray, and a deep resentment for both the Yazata and humanity was established. Only small populations of humans, who did not interact with the Yazata and fully immersed their society in the ways of nature, and the Great Spirits remained in connection to their power. In time, fewer and fewer of these human cultures remained. A deep-seated drive for progress and advancement pushed humans to always seek new technologies and increase their populations far beyond the limits of natural sustainability. In the eyes of many of the Vitir, humans were the enemy of the very world they were given to rule over. Brighton, Florida, December 10th, 1998. Jake pushes himself up, raising his already grueling workout routine. If he plans to face Hui again, he'll be doing so without all of the power tied to his emotions. Trying to fight a strong opponent now would be like having both arms and one leg tied behind his back. When you lost control, you were able to draw upon my power as well as your own, Imura says. I believe it wise to prepare for that scenario again. In the heat of battle, when you are in control, enemies will underestimate you. We will work to make use of that by practicing your control over the Black Flame. You haven't even fully mastered the Black Flame yet, and you have several thousand-year head start. How in the world could I ever hope to do it? Besides, I thought the whole point of our training is to have me be able to wear down Hui with my own energy, so that you are at 100% when you step in. I do not expect you to fully master anything. I only wish for you to gain enough control to execute 1 or 2 surprise attacks. Prolonged usage of the technique could kill us. I am also not wanting you to draw upon my energy. Merely use my superior techniques, utilizing your own strength. It seems awful risky. You do remember that if I mess up and die, so will you. I am aware. With your power sealed, swapping with you during battle would serve us no advantage and actually be a detriment. I need to be able to recover my stamina while you are in control. I will be unable to rest if you are being murdered. Gee, thanks for the confidence boost. I am only speaking the truth. If we are not prepared, we will be killed. If the doctor was not lying to us, then we must be ready for the possibility that my sister has come back from the dead. Inyana forming an alliance with Hui is a scenario that we cannot allow. Either of them would prove more than a challenge for us, if your power were not sealed. Together as we are now, we stand 0 chance of defeating them. The air vibrates with a strange resonance, and a static-like hum echoes in the back of Jake's head. A faint metallic taste appears, causing the teen to spit onto the ground several times in disgust. What's going on? Jake whispers with a grimace. My mouth tastes like I've been sucking on a battery. The air is filled with a powerful magic. Magic? You mean there's a spellcaster nearby? There must be. Magical energy cannot travel long distances. A spell must be seen or heard by its target. Greetings. The voice of Inyana cuts into Jake's mind. Some of you know who I am. Others may not. That is of no matter, as you will soon all know me as the rightful queen of this world. I am Inyana of Averno. Has that sparked any of your memories? I am the highest of all the Sakari, and I am not a force to be taken lightly. Entire armies have fallen at my feet. If you doubt my power, I will give you a small taste of what I am capable of. I'm sure that most of you have already seen on your televisions the destruction of the city of Totikahachi. That was my doing. I am offering all of you a chance to come to me and personally bend the knee. As a gracious queen, I will be holding a competition for all of you who come to greet me in person. In 2 weeks' time, I shall hold a tournament to the death. Whomever emerges as the victor shall be given a place at my side as a general, and their prize will be none other than a sacred treasure hidden away long ago by the Yazata. To claim the Yazata's treasure, you will not only have to be powerful, but also clever and strategic. There shall be a great variety of opponents, all with unique abilities. If you are not prepared, you will not survive long. Only come to me if you have the confidence that you have what it takes to defeat all other challengers. Anyone else will only be getting in the way of the truly strong. Inyana's demeanor changes as she directs a personal challenge to Yamura. Brother, I especially hope that you will respond to this invitation. Hui and I will be waiting to personally greet your arrival. I await all of you that are brave enough and powerful enough to accept this challenge. You have 2 weeks to prepare, no more. When you are ready, you will find me on the island of Jockey. For any of you without transportation, I will arrange for 3 ships to depart, one from Osaka, Japan, on the 17th at 7 a.m. sharp, another from Los Angeles, California, on the 14th at 8 a.m. The final ship will leave from the port of Manila in the Philippines on the 16th at 8 a.m. If you cannot make these locations, I trust that you will find an alternate method of transportation. Jockey Island has special protections put in place long ago to keep it hidden. You will not find this island on any map, and you will be unable to use magical teleportation to bypass its restrictions. If you are unable to successfully navigate your way to the island, powerful storms will ensure that you meet your demise for your failure. I expect that these challenges will not deter many of you. This I hope that I am correct about. If you give up before even trying to accept my challenge, you were never worthy of receiving this message in the first place. If you come by ship with others with similar aspirations, I strongly advise you to not engage in any violence until you arrive at Jockey. A powerful magic envelops the island that will bestow added strength to everyone who overcomes another in battles to the death. Save your bloodlust for after you reach the island, so that you may enter my competition with a power worthy of being my next general. This challenge is not for the faint of heart. The weakest of you will be weeded out quickly, leaving only the best to fight for the ultimate honors. 2 weeks. This is all you have. Prepare however you wish, then seek out Jockey Island. A grand prize and prestigious honors await whoever can emerge as my champion. I await your arrival. Fuck, Jake whispers. We are not ready for this. My sister knows everything that happened to us if she has already met up with Hui. She is attempting to lure us into a trap. There is no other reason for her to mention Hui by name. It seems her style. But why would she have to lure us? She was able to find us in Florida pretty easily. And why make her invitation open to others? If only that last part was meant for us, why is she holding a recruitment drive? And Yana's every move is a calculated action. She wastes no time or energy on useless efforts. If she wants us to come to this jockey island, she will use the opportunity to kill us for sure. She may be looking past us and building forces for a conquest of this world. And Yana is strong, but alone she will not be able to deal with the full armies of mankind or their advanced weaponry. So do we ignore her summons? Or do we fall for the trap even though we know it's a trap? We may not get another opportunity to kill both Hui and Inyana at the same time again. If others are on the island in competition, we may be able to use that as a distraction. I'm concerned, however, about her mentioning that those killed will make the victors stronger. That sounds to me like a seal ability. Maybe she's going to use all of the strong fighters that come to the island to boost up her own power. Lying to the competitors about them getting stronger, while in reality only she strengthens, is not out of Inyana's character. It is a definite possibility. Is there no limit on that open challenge? Maybe we don't have to go at it alone. What do you mean? Maybe we can convince Danny and a bunch of her magician friends to ride along and help us out. Yamura grumbles. We should face Hui and Inyana with our own strength. Relying on others to fight for us would be dishonorable. Besides, I do not believe that we are on good terms with the spellcasters after the battle against the doctor. Jake recalls being out of control due to his emotional breakdown and the manipulation of his mind by the doctor's chemicals. Yeah, you may be right. Damn it. What else could we do to go into this trap better prepared? We only have 2 weeks to train. We really only have roughly 4 days. You must remember the time that it will take to travel by ship to the island. We can still train while we're on the ship, can't we? I want to squeeze in as much training time as possible. You will have to become proficient with the Black Flame, much faster than we anticipated. But we haven't even barely started training yet. It will be a test for both of us. It would be to our advantage for both of us to gain more strength in the next few days. I highly doubt that Hui will be allowing his vessel any opportunity for growth. So we do have some minuscule advantage there. Allowing his vessel, huh? Was that a shot at me? Jake asks. Now that you are significantly weaker than before, I am putting our lives at risk any time that I am allowing you to fight at all. You will be a hindrance upon our survival against the combined power of Hui and Inyana. If you are able to become stronger several times over, we may be able to surprise my sister and Hui, and hopefully defeat them. How is that? Neither of them will be able to swap over to their vessels to regain stamina. Would be essentially fighting with reserves that they cannot hope to duplicate. I guess I've got to prove myself then, Jake says. I'll show you, Hui, Inyana, and any other monster on jockey that I'm no pushover or hindrance. Do not make claims, Imura says. Only allow your actions to speak for you. When we get to Jockey Island, I'm the one who's going to put Hui down for good, not you. Inyana grins. This is the fire that you will need. Now focus on wielding the black flame. Let this week of training for us be one of final reprieve for Hui. Once the week is over, Hui will die. Endelgian, December 10th, 1998. The elders debate amongst themselves what actions, if any, they should take in regards to Inyana's open invitation. Sent to every non-human on Earth, Inyana has called out the fiercest and bloodthirsty killers to gather for battle. Sensory mages that are on constant alert were able to pick up the magical transmission and relay Inyana's message to the elders. This will be no ordinary series of fights, Elder Stom says. The Sakari's challenge has reached the ears of devils and demigods. Going to Jockey Island will be a suicide mission. All of those monsters gathered together would be a perfect opportunity at ridding the world of their threats. Imagine if we could eliminate the top devils at work on the mortal plane, Captain Erisai says. How many lives could be saved if we sent a team to the island to participate? By that same notion, facing these devils and monsters may be something our mages could not handle. Look at the losses we incurred just at the hands of Jake Stewart and one enhanced physician, Elder Guerin says. Not only is ridding the world of monsters a tempting proposition, there's also the added enticement of the Yazatan weapon being offered as a prize, Elder Fav says. A holy artifact would be invaluable in our possession. And necessary to keep out of the hands of devils and monsters, Captain Erisai adds. It could be nothing more than an enticing lie, Elder Giaconda says. A carrot dangling ahead to lure powerful beings to a greedy ending. That is a possibility, Elder Stom says, thinking deeply on all that has been said. If we are to consider sending representation to Jockey, we must carefully vet our selection. With the caliber of likely threats, I do not believe apprentices or even provosts would have any chance at surviving. Whoever is selected must keep in mind the likelihood that they are being sent to their death. That is a depressing thought, Elder Fav says. How could we possibly send anyone on a mission like that? I do not believe that we should view this as any kind of official mission. Anyone going to Jockey should be a volunteer, Captain Erisai says. I would like to put myself up for that consideration. Absolutely not, Elder Guerin shouts. You are far too crucial to the security of Endelgion to go on a suicide task. We cannot function without your leadership and control over the Knights of Solomon. The person or persons selected must also be trustworthy, Captain Erisai says. We cannot risk them succeeding, only to take the Yazatan weapon for themselves and go rogue. Or worse yet, they accept Inyana's offer to become her next general, Elder Stom says. Do we announce this situation to all of the masters formally, or do we keep this a secret within those of us currently present in the council hall? Elder Fav asks. It may create a disturbance if the apprentices and provosts learn of the competition. Individuals may ignore the warnings of their masters and independently venture to Jockey to test themselves. Many young mages would die if that were to happen. I believe that the masters should be given the chance to decide for themselves whether they wish to participate or not, Elder Giaconda says. But I agree that they must be ordered to keep silent on the matter and leak nothing of Jockey Island or Inyana's tournament to any of their students. Masters Forgeron and Bennett should not be included in this briefing, Captain Erisai says. They are still barred from partaking in any training or undergoing any missions while they are under review. What about your number 2 or 3? Elder Fav asks. Lieutenant Nando or Third Seat Tamagai would provide the power of a master, but the skill and combat experience of a Knight of Solomon. I cannot nominate any of my own for a suicide mission, but I will bring the knowledge before them, and allow each to make their own decision, Captain Arisai says. We seem to have come to an impasse for now, Elder Falv says. If none of us are willing to sacrifice for the potential gain of a Yazdan artifact, and clearing a number of monsters from the board, then we will be abstaining from participating in Yana's competition for now. We will re-evaluate the matter should any of the masters express interest in the participation. And what if one of those monsters does indeed win the tournament? Elder Storm asks. The entire human world would be threatened. That scenario would not affect us. Joining the society, we have severed all of our attachments to the mortal plane, and Delgian will continue on no matter what befalls humanity as a whole, Elder Falv says. Captain Arisai is shocked by the Elder's coldness. Are there humans outside of us capable of fighting in our stead? There are a handful of mages that are not affiliated with our city, but I do not know if they have any interest in participating, Elder Guerin says. How close a watch is our city keeping on these mages? Captain Arisai asks. He is aware of no other current monitoring details on any non-affiliated mages. They are being closely monitored, Elder Guerin says, emphasizing the word closely. A special detachment of knights under our direct supervision is in charge of this task. There are knights under the direct supervision of the council that I am unaware of? Captain Arisai is angered and betrayed. He feels as though his authority is being undermined. What other secrets is the council keeping from him? And there is also the boy Jake Stewart. We know him to be a powerful adversary, and he was partially influenced by Adrian Scrimauer. Him winning worries me as much as any monster, Captain Arisai says. That boy is too easily manipulated, and as you said, he has connections to the rogue Scrimauer. We do not yet know if Scrimauer has not buried some deeper purpose within his interactions with the boy, or puppet magic that we have not yet detected. I do not feel as though there is any favorable conclusion without our lack of involvement. I know you still wish to participate, but that will not be in the best interests of our city. Unless we can come to a beneficial agreement that involves someone other than yourself entering the tournament, our course of action must be neutrality. For now, and Delgin will send no representation to Jockey Island, Elder Falv says. The Office of Paranormal Investigation Agency, the PIA, Washington, D.C., December 10, 1998. Director Rice stares at a pinned map of the United States. Thumbtacks are pushed into the sites of NHE sightings. The map is dotted with hundreds of pins. Where do we stand? Director Rice walks up to the agent holding 2 cups of coffee. A shitstorm where we don't know up from down, Agent Nora says, taking one of the cups. Not only are we still dealing with the dimensional tears opening up everywhere and the nasty creatures that crawl out of them, NHEs of every shape and size are becoming active. It's as if some monster alarm was sounded and given a call to arms against humanity. You may not be far off with that assessment, Rice says with a sigh. Look at the ever-increasing violence in the world, the mass animal die-offs, famine, plagues. I'd say we're living in the end times. Maybe the monsters are wrapping this show up and about to drop the curtain. Are you still receiving pressure from Congress? Rice nods. Outside of our reports, many still doubt the existence of NHEs at all. I would attempt to bring a live specimen before them as proof, but I think they would probably be too dangerous. From what I've seen over the years, most of them will remain skeptical, even if you did show them proof. Once set in their ways, it's very difficult for a politician to change their opinions. Not unless that a new opinion is shared by a wealthy financial lobbyist. Agent Nora laughs. Yeah, I guess you're right. They aren't the most principled lot. Totikahachi was an awakening for many to the existence of the supernatural world. It's sad that our leadership are among the last to awaken to this new reality. Can you blame them? This world is so much scarier than the one that we all knew just a few months ago. Rice nods. That's true. The things we feared before pale in comparison to NHEs. An agent named Adele Juan shouts excitedly from across the room, still on the phone. Director! Local PD near Seattle just took down 3 Yakaruna on their own. They killed one and wounded the others enough to take them into custody. The sheriff there is being extremely cooperative in keeping the details out of the public reports. That's pretty impressive, Rice says, taking a drink of his coffee. Yakaruna are no pushovers. Similar to the concept of a werebeast, a Yakaruna is a creature that seems human in appearance, but can manifest more animal-like traits, such as claws or enhanced senses. Unlike fictional Therians, like werewolves, Yakaruna are not, and have never been, humans. In reality, the Yakaruna evolved to mimic their primary food source in order to better hunt them. There are many subspecies of Yakaruna, each differing in hunting methods, region found, and which animal traits they share. The officer said they were able to get the drop on the creatures because they were in some kind of trance, Agent Juan says. A trance? Rice asks, intrigued. The surviving Yakaruna said that they were listening to a psychic message from the Sakari and Yana that left them oblivious to their surroundings. And Yana sent a message to a pair of Yakaruna in the Pacific Northwest? That doesn't make any sense. Not just them, Agent Huang continues. Multiple NHEs in our custody are all singing the same tune. It seems we know why there is so much activity on the board right now. And Yana has invited every beastie and creature in the world to a private competition in 2 weeks, to an island called Jockey. And Yana. So, the sightings of her were true after all. This must be why she was spotted in major port cities. She was finding transportation to this Jockey Island, Rice says. And Yana was known to be a powerful sorceress. She could theoretically have had a revival method set in place to activate in the event of her death. Only someone of her power could have pulled off a spell strong enough to target every NHE on a planet with her message, Agent Nora says. Maybe that's why all the devils are phoning home. They could have been the ones to have arranged for Inyana to return to the living realm, Agent Juan says. Whatever the case may be, it can't be good, Rice says, rubbing his temples. Start working on the location of Jockey Island. Know that it exists, so there must be a way for us to get there. Sir, Agent Juan whispers, concerned. You aren't planning on sending a team in, are you? This island will soon become the most dangerous location on the planet for us mortals. We won't be sending in any agents, Rice says. But if we can get a location on the island, we can enter our own NHEs into the competition and get some rare intel. What NHEs do we have that will survive against all those monsters? Agent Nora asks. Stay in contact with that sheriff, Rice tells Agent Juan. I would like for them to loan us their Yakaruna. We have no way of guaranteeing its loyalty, Agent Juan says. That creature will be just as likely to turn on us as the other monsters. Do you have any better ideas? Agent Nora asks. If the Yakaruna gets killed, At least we won't be out of any personnel. I won't be risking any of our agents on this, Rice says. Anyone or anything we send to Jockey will be outsourced. Outsourced? Agent Nora asks. You would trust everything to an independent contractor? Surely someone like that could be bought off. And even if they were honorable enough to be loyal to us, they cannot be anyone strong enough that we could have complete confidence in their success. I have complete confidence, Rice repeats. Nothing is ever guaranteed. But I do have a specific person in mind that I feel is perfect for this job. He has no loyalty to the Sicarii, and is more than capable enough in battle to be our best chance at keeping an operative on that island and alive. Nothing against any of our agents, but none of them could survive a battle against one of the Sicarii. No, there is only one person that we know for a fact has survived an encounter with Inyana. You don't mean, Agent Juan whispers in shock. Rice nods. If Inyana has indeed returned, and this is not some elaborate ruse, then I know that boy is already lining himself up to get the first shot at her. It would be beneficial to us to support him in his efforts, and do everything in our power to help him bring Inyana down. Inyana may be a mutual enemy, but he cannot be trusted, Agent Nora shouts in protest. Yamura is responsible for just as many deaths as she is. He is a Sicarii, and a murderer just like her. He is a Sicarii and a murderer, Rice agrees, but he is not just like her. Yamura is very different from his sister. I have met him face to face. I know full well what he is capable of. Yamura is prideful, and he hates the other Sicarii far more than he hates us humans. On top of that, Yamura is bonded to that human boy. That unique bonding is our secret weapon against the Sicarii. The longer those two are connected, the more human Yamura will become, and the more of a Sicarii warrior the boy will become. I can think of no one else more perfect to take down Inyana. It's a bold strategy, Agent Juan says, and very risky. If this backfires on us, Totikahachi won't be remembered as the biggest catastrophe and loss of life caused by the Sicarii on American soil. It is our responsibility to make those tough decisions, Rice says. Every day we are gambling with the lives of the American people and the world. We will do whatever is necessary to protect our country and her people, even if that means throwing our support behind the lesser of two evils. Cerberus Offices, San Francisco, California, December 10th, 1998. The devil Mammon stands before the other devils, now numbering over 20. The message broadcast by Inyana has caused the devils to gather together for another emergency meeting. It is not often the devils congregate this soon after a meeting, but the situation for them has changed drastically. Devils from all across the country have gathered to discuss what their response should be. A dozen other devils attend the meeting in astral form via black mass rituals from other parts of the world. Increased efforts must be made to recover the soul of Inyana, a devil named Abraxas says. No one escapes Gehenna without consequences. Our prisons are sacred. She is not keeping a low profile, Wallachu says. It is awfully brazen to broadcast your location with no fear of retaliation if you are an escaped fugitive. It is almost as if she has divine protection, the devil Lilim muses. A Yazatan ally would explain how she was able to escape her confines. What other beings are able to access Gehenna and leave unmolested? If this is true, the Yazat have spat in the face of our autonomy by liberating that dark spirit from our custody. I take this as an act of invasion. The Yazat have declared war, Abraxas continues. Inyana has sent word out to all of the dark corners of this world to meet her on Jockey Island. She promises that a single lucky individual shall lay claim to a Yazatan treasure, Waluchu adds. She must be referring to the Banu Kazka, Mammon says. Jockey Island was the final resting place for that sacred blade. How was the Sakari able to learn the location of one of the most ancient relics of our first major war? Lilim asks. More evidence that she has a Yazata on her side, Abraxas replies. She was resurrected from Gehenna, and now knows of a weapon that only the Yazata and Devilnay should have any knowledge of. It is quite obvious once you think about it. A rogue? Lilim asks. Do you think a rogue is allied with Inyana? Does this come as any surprise? Abraxas asks. Two of the Grigori have been known to frequently slum with the Sakari. It is most likely that Cedrion stole Inyana's soul from Gehenna and brought her to Jockey to claim the Banu Kazka. The Grigori are still Yazata, and like us, they are barred from entering the sanctuary that houses the Banu Kazka. Only a human deemed worthy may enter the shrine and take hold of that legendary blade. But if Inyana was pulled from Gehenna, she is no longer within her human vessel, the devil Negapet says. She cannot reach the blade either. Which is why she is calling for the strongest beings in the human world to come to Jockey Island. She is banking on one of them being able to bypass the barrier and enter the shrine, Abraxas says. Or lure an exceptionally strong human to the island, Mammon says. There are a handful of mortals that could surpass the strength needed to enter the shrine. Do you think the human who slew Benahil will be there? Gwalichu asks excitedly. I would love to get a hold of him. Me too, Forcus says. He fucked my operation up worse than anyone else. Forcus, we need you to focus on getting your breeding program back up and running, Mammon says. Requests for new vessels are piling up. Inyana's brother and her number 2 are also currently within human bodies. Both of them are top contenders for claiming the Banu Kazka, Abraxas says. That blue bitch really thinks she's special, doesn't she? Lilim growls. Escaping Gehenna, close to claiming a Yazatan weapon, blatantly throwing it on all of our faces. We are going to do something about this, aren't we? All of the Sakari have egos far too enlarged for their status. They're in denial that they are only a single step above the human meat monkeys, in the overall scheme of things, Abraxas says. Predatory animals always think they are superior to the prey they consume, Negapet says. They need reminded that only the hunter is truly superior to both the predator and the prey animals. Inyana has indicated that she will not be directly participating in her own competition. It will be Hui that fights on her behalf, Abraxas says. The Sakari have no right to the Banu Kazka. It was our people that fashioned that weapon. The blade belongs to us, Gwalichu says. I do not understand why all of us do not simply go to Jockey en masse and lay waste to every living being on that island, and take the Banu Kazka back for ourselves, the devil Kimaris says. 1 or 2 of us out in the open may be able to slip past detection, but without the magical warding of our sanctuaries, the Seraphim would send strike teams to eliminate us, Abraxas says. Mammon nods. We must play our hand out discreetly. Gwalichu, I think you should enter Inyana's competition. You know the most about weapons, so adding the Banu Kazka to your collection only seems fitting. Take 2 or 3 of your low-level soldiers along, but no more, and do try to keep yourselves suppressed as much as possible to avoid the attention of the Seraphim. Kame, you will lead the attack on the Silver Fox organization. Leave no survivors. The devil Kame nods. A simple task. Do not underestimate those humans. If they were able to kill Benahil, it isn't unthinkable that they may be able to defeat one of our own with enough planning. They will not have the time to prepare. My only announcement of arrival shall be written in their blood. Still, Mammon is not convinced of a guaranteed victory. Defeating a Yazata, even a Grigori, is not something to be taken lightly. I will give him no opportunity to fight back whatsoever, Kame says assuredly. I will come at him with everything I have, leaving not even ashes of him behind. That human will be completely erased from existence. Mammon accepts this response. Everyone else, continue with your projects and send me status reports. We still have many big things to look forward to in the near future. With that, the devils are dismissed to go their separate ways. Leaving two at a time, they avoid Yazata detection. Unlike the other Yazata, devils are diluted enough by their curse to be much more difficult to distinguish from humans from a distance. Whether it be our victory on Jockey, or the revenge we will claim for Benahil's defeat, we shall be the ones that always come out on top. Humans may think this world belongs to them, but it has always been ours. We, who lost our wings and our beauty over leadership of this world, will never allow the filthy monkeys that disgrace our every moment with their very existence to lay ownership of any inch of this world. It disgusts me to have to rely on the aid of cowards like Benahil, but one day soon we will repay all of the Seraphim for their crimes against us. Their condescension and arrogance will be repaid with their lives, Mammon thinks. Brighton, Florida, December 10th, 1998. Jake paces his apartment rooftop, anxious of the impending rematches with both Hui and Inyana. The desire to get revenge on Hui for Claire's murder is matched only by the need to punish Inyana for killing his mother. The chance to face both of them is too great to pass up on. We cannot go into these battles lightly, Yamura cautions. Our power will not be as high as when we faced Hui before. The spell placed on you will have us held to a severe disadvantage. Dick touches his chest deep in thought. Even though it's covered by a t-shirt, the teen knows the blood seal still remains. I've worked really hard trying to master our abilities. I think we are already way stronger than we were just a few days ago. Even limited, we should still be able to punch Hui's ticket. You are still comparing our enemies to the power we used to possess. Even our initial encounter with Hui would have been our death, had we been at this level of strength then. What are the chances Inyana and Hui try to tag team us? Normally, I would say this is an unlikely scenario. My sister is more inclined to only involve herself when all other avenues have failed. She does not like to get her hands dirty. But Jake knows there's always a but. Yamura nods. Because we have already defeated her once, Inyana's hatred will supersede any desire for her to remain uninvolved. The chances are high that they will work together to defeat us if they begin to feel their victory slipping away. Which brings us to the tournament. Why would Inyana organize this competition? It doesn't seem her style. You are correct. My sister has never been a fan of structured combat for entertainment purposes. To Inyana, killing a foe need not rules or pageantry. This entire situation is troubling. So it's more likely that someone else came up with the tournament idea. But why? If they already have a Yazatan artifact, why would they need to go to the trouble of inviting challengers to come take it? Perhaps she does not actually have this item, but is somehow using the tournament to veil her attempt to acquire it. Rumors of the artifact could have been leaked for an ulterior motive. But again, what does Inyana have to gain? Could she be gathering forces to build herself a new army? Did she promise the winner a spot at her side as a general just to have someone strong at her side? Do you think she still plans to take over the world? and Yana will always return to her dreams of conquest. But right now, I think our primary concern is returning home. The time that we lost trapped in those amulets tortured Yana most of all. All of my sister's offspring are dead of old age. Neither you nor I can imagine that feeling. You sound like you actually have some sympathy for her, Jake says, surprised. The teen can find no compassion in his heart for the monster that took his mother away from him. As one who has slain the young, I can no longer wish inflicting that grief upon someone. My sister had her role in the murders of those I loved as well, so do not think I have found forgiveness for Inyana. I merely understand that her suffering must be great. I promise that when the time comes, I will not hesitate to take Inyana's head. We also have the variables of Inyana's unknown accomplices. We know she threw in with Khan before his death, but that alliance went south pretty fast. You don't think she was able to get a different GX-enhanced warrior on her side, do you? That is unlikely. If the human agents of PIA have an extensive catalog of non-humans, they surely would have been able to identify the man in the photographs. Jake has to agree. Could another Sakari have been released other than Hui? When you aren't in control, it's nearly impossible to tell that we aren't a normal human being. Or maybe it's someone possessed by something else. Like maybe a devil? Ymir cringes at hearing the word possessed. Possession implies to him the will of a lesser being parasitizing another. I am aware of no other Sakari to have been magically confined in objects. A handful of soldiers may have indeed survived, but by now their descendants would be nothing more than Sakari tainted blood. That man is still an unknown, and that makes me very uncomfortable. I think we're going to need some help with this. Just one extra capable fighter to have our back would free us up to fight Hui without interference. Whom do you suggest? No full humans will be able to enter Inyana's competition. I can only think of those rogue GX warriors, but we have no means of contacting any of them. I was still thinking more along the lines of magic. If anything can fool Inyana's screening process, it would be a spell of some sort. My sister is a powerful sorceress. It would be no simple feat to fool her. That's why I'm hoping Danny is busy learning lots of new useful skills. We're going to need heavy firepower to survive Jockey Island. The door to the roof opens and Agent Colstock steps out to greet the teen. I take it that you caught wind of Inyana's announcement, Jake says. He's not surprised that the agent has come to see him. Colstock nods. As far as we can tell, she was able to reach every non-human on the planet with her message. By conservative estimates, some 2 million supernatural creatures know of her tournament. Now everything becomes clear, Jake says. You want me to enter Inyana's tournament for you, because your little agency didn't get the invite. We already assumed that you're going to jockey to face her, so why not play by her rules and try to get that Yazanan artifact before getting your revenge? I have no interest in some Yazatan trinket. I only want to kill Inyana and Hui. If you don't play this smart, you'll never get your chance to fight them. Jockey will be crawling with monsters and demons, and Inyana's Paranormal Fight Club will make it hard to have a clean fight. You broke the first rule of Paranormal Fight Club, Jake whispers. Colstock continues, ignoring the teen. Demons and other NHEs are going to the island to compete for that trinket. Jockey will be a brutal celebration of the grotesque. As mostly human, you will not be well liked. I'll deal with it, Jake growls. I'm serious. We've never heard of this many NHEs potentially gathering in one location. Jockey Island very well may become an extinction-level threat. And what exactly are these NHEs that you keep name-dropping? Non-human entities. It's our all-encompassing term for paranormal beings. Our agency is discovering new creatures and monsters every day. And you want me to win Inyana's tournament instead of some baby-eating monster, is that it? Kolstock nods. So far, we've managed to get 2 of our assets onto one of the ships Inyana has set up for transportation to Jockey. The screening process is terribly thorough. We lost 3 agents trying to get onto one of her ships. If you're suspected of being a human, they won't even allow you to board. Anyone who has attempted has been killed. You can't just air raid the island? I'm sure Uncle Sam will lend you all of his nicest toys. The weather anomaly around Jockey is most likely magical in nature. The storms make it impossible for our ships to navigate and make landfall. We assume the ships Inyana has arranged are all enchanted to allow them to reach Jockey unhindered. It would explain us seeing her over the past weeks at the docks in Japan, in the Philippines, and San Francisco. Those places were all named as boarding sites for the tournament, Jake mutters. We also have intelligence to suggest that Hui has been brought to the island ahead of the competition. Jake balls his fists in anger. The mere mention of Hui causes his blood to boil. We're still unclear how Inyana has come into possession of a Yazatan artifact, but whatever it is, it can't be good if so many creatures are interested in obtaining it. A fallen angel named Cedrion. He's been manipulating us all since I first became bonded to Yamura. Maybe even before. He was the one who attacked the FBI agents and police to break me out of custody. He made it clear he has future plans for me that didn't involve a lengthy prison stay. Cedrion has a history of working with Inyana and her family. I'm betting he is the way she got revived from the dead. Kolstock gladly takes in this new information. If Inyana and Hui are in league with a rogue Yazata, I'm not sure we have anyone that can stop them. We've only run across one instance of a human defeating a Yazata since we were founded. And that was your Uncle Gator. Jake is surprised his uncle was able to take out a Yazata, but more confused that he was fighting one in the first place. And it seems doubly strange that he randomly encountered Gator during his confrontation with Hui's head priest. Jake sighs loudly. Too bad my uncle was killed. About that, Kolstock says. I'm not really supposed to say anything, but I think being open with you will go a long way to building some trust. Your uncle is alive. He survived the battle with Hui's head priest, alongside a few of his men. Uncle Gator is alive? But how? Jake is stunned. He was positive the head priest killed him. I'm not sure, honestly. I just know that he's alive. He's working with a group that we have to keep a close eye on. The Silver Fox organization are basically our private sector rivals, if you want it put simply. They're civilians, but recruit heavily from law enforcement and military. And they fight monsters too? Kolstock nods. Yes, but they're not officially recognized by the government. Technically, they're illegal vigilantes, but you tolerate them. For now, we recognize that they have been fighting this fight longer than we have and have done a lot of good. There really aren't a lot of us out there fighting this war at all. So, will the dining be on Uncle Sam? I'm sort of short on disposable funds, Jake says. We'll send some MREs with you to Jockey. Kolstock is tiring of having to deal with the teenager. He wishes he had instead been assigned to the mission in the Congo, in search of a beast that's been reportedly overturning boats called the Mekele Mbembe, or he who blocks the flow of rivers. Am I your last resort? Jake asks. Or am I one of several recruits for this tournament? Our other potential resources are all otherwise occupied. A lot will be riding on your success, so don't screw things up. He sees the teen grow concerned. You won't be completely alone. We will be sending 2 experienced monster hunters to Jockey to provide you with support, but they are not expected to accomplish what we know you will be capable of. You're saying I'll be stronger than the backup. Wouldn't that be counterproductive? Jake wonders what good backup can be if they won't be able to keep up with their opponents in battle. If anything, trying to protect his comrades might slow him down, make him more likely to be defeated. Splitting one's focus between the battle ahead and keeping allies safe is a fight that Jake does not wish to partake in. He thinks that he would rather go into battle with one arm tied behind his back. That way, at least his focus would still be only on defeating his opponent. In terms of raw power, yes, Colstock admits, but don't think they will be useless as allies. They have years of experience that cannot be taught. They are skilled with a variety of weaponry and in the arts of tracking and hunting supernatural creatures. They will also provide invaluable assets in navigating the wilderness of Jockey. I've been camping before, Jake says. I can handle myself. Colstock chuckles. I think Jockey Island will provide much more of a challenge than some state park. We have no idea what kind of horrors exist within the isolation of Jockey's forests. So, we're talking a real Skull Island here? Jake asks, grinning as he thinks about fantastic kaiju monsters like King Kong and Godzilla. Growing up, Jake loved watching old monster movies with his father, staying up late at night on a Friday or Saturday and enjoying the practical effects and costumes of the black and white cinematic treasures. Don't get distracted. You'll be going to Jockey for one objective alone. And that is defeating Hui and Inyana. Jake nods, wondering what other NHEs the agency has under their thumb. Unknown to him, the GX Warriors Virtual, Flex, Storm, and Peril are all currently in alliance with the PIA. You don't need to tell me that. With or without your assistance, killing those two is at the top of my bucket list. It won't be just the Sakari you'll have to worry about, Colstock warns. Inyana's message was hurled all around the world. Every nasty creature in existence, with even a hint of ambition, will be headed to Jockey to collect that prize. I'm not worried, Jake says confidently. They can't be any worse than the things I've already fought in the past year. So do you need me to get a signed permission form for this field trip? Because my parents are dead, Jake says. Will you take the signature of a grandparent? Colstock stares at Jake, unamused. You have a very fucked up sense of humor, kid. Jake laughs. Yeah, I know. I'm an acquired taste. We've set up a private airfield about a mile west of the park. Meet us there at 5 a.m. tomorrow. We'll be departing from there for the west coast to catch a ship called the Azalea. West Coast? Like Cali? I've never been west of St. Louis before. We have to make that ship or we'll be unable to find Jockey. Make sure you aren't late. Jake nods. Got it. Be on time. We'll get you to Jockey. You kill the competition, claim the Yazdan artifact, then deal with Hui and Inyana. Are we clear? Crystal, Jake says, holding up his fingers in the OK sign. It'll be a cakewalk. We're fucking screwed, Jake thinks. What the hell are we getting into? Despite outwardly exuding confidence, the teen is terrified of what he might encounter on Jockey. He's seen enough horror movies to know that there are no limitations to the kinds of creatures that might exist in the unknown. Facing Hui and Inyana might be the easiest part of his trip to the island, and he worries what exactly that might mean for him and his survival.